welcome to another episode of AT Banter. Okay, okay, I don't know. I've just given up asking at this point, but
There was a super long delay because our banter guru is like in Asia right now, so he's a long way away. So I left a long pause in there.
Okay, that makes sense. It all makes sense. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Hey, I don't know why I'm screwing up this intro.
You're very, very calm this week. Last time you were on like what, Red Bull and vodka, was it?
Well, no, I wasn't really, but yeah, I got accused of. But no, listen, we're coming off of. I had a 4-day weekend. I took some little bit extra time off, so I'm very zen. I'm very relaxed and zen today. So
nice.
The host you're getting. So
your mouth is still on vacation.
Wow. Oh, that's right. Well, my name is Rob Minot, and joining me, of course, is the Peanut Gallery themselves. Hey, look, it's Mr. Ryan Fleury.
In the house.
And hey, it's Miss Liz Malone.
Oh, F the damn house, okay?
You just ruin everything. Okay, I guess we're discontinuing the thing. We tried it for last week. It kind of worked. I thought it came across okay, but it was okay.
Yeah, it was all right.
I think we could have made it work. If we would have stuck with it for a year, I think it would have been a real thing.
Oof, a year.
Oh, Lord.
Well, okay, listen, you just got to give things space to breathe and to develop, but it's okay.
It's not wine.
It could be wine. It could be.
I'll be in the house if there's wine. Lissy gets no wine over here, so yeah. So I ain't in the damn house, okay? So.
What do you mean? What do you mean you don't have any wine? Well, you just don't have any wine?
No, she can't because she have her fancy, dancy voodoo diet thing she's on.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Right, it's that like eat grain that you've washed 3 times and then soaked in, I don't know.
Goat pee. Oh, yeah, no wonder. Okay, well, so listen, she has every right to be grumpy then.
That's right, no bacon.
How is that going, incidentally? Let's talk about that for a minute. So just how are you doing, Liz?
I'm fine, okay?
We love you, Liz.
I know, kind of.
All right.
Some days more than others.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I know, but as I sound like
crazy.
I know. I'm like, no, I don't know that you love me. What the frick am I saying? Why am I going?
What are you talking about? We wrote a song for you.
Well, you did, Ryan.
You did, Ryan.
Right. Okay. So I love you.
I think you do have some love for me, Ryan. I do.
I do.
Rob, I think you could take me or leave me. Probably more leave me.
I mean, do you have to say?
Have to say.
Okay.
I know.
Okay, well then I'm just taking the fifth.
I feel it. I feel it, man. I get it. It's all right. It's okay. It's all right.
Well, listen, no, it's fine.
You're so sad. You brought down the show, Rob.
The show would be very different without Liz. Let's just say that.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Listen, I'm trying to be nice.
No, we tried it for, I don't know what, 6-7 years without a list. Yeah, it's better with you.
Yeah, there you go. We'll write another song about you.
All right. So, okay, enough about me. Let's move it along. It's not all about me right now.
That's right. She's got a hell of a point there, right? So, without further ado.
Yeah, so today we are speaking with a community manager over at Right Here. She is Shanell Matos. Is that even close, Shanell?
Yes, Shanell Matos.
So glad you could join us today. Hopefully you can fill us in on more about who you are and what you do over at Right Here.
Absolutely. Let me start with saying that I am blind. I do have light perception, but I have chosen for myself the label of blind because I feel that if I have no usable vision, then that is a fair title. And I know that is a controversial concept in the community. Some people have their feelings on it, but that's my choice and my label. With that said, I work with right here, and a big part of what we do is making sure that everyone has the same access to information when they enter a space as everyone else. So we like to say that we're not a navigation app, we're an orientation app. I personally feel like that's really important. I don't like being told what to do. I don't like being told where to go, and I don't like being told how to do it. And I don't appreciate technology feeling that it has the right to do those things. So one of the nice things with this particular app that we have is that it doesn't do any of those things. It just informs you of what's around you. If you were sighted and you walked into a room, you would know immediately as soon as you walked in where the desk is, where the doors are, where the elevators are, if there are chairs. You know, any of that information would just be immediate. You would just walk in, look, and there it is. No one has to have a sign. No one has to tell you. If there are signs on the wall, you'll see them, you'll read them, and you'll move on with your day. You'll make your own choices. And what we do it right here is the same thing. We allow people with vision loss to have access to that same information. So when I walk in, I open my app, it immediately reads to me, you have arrived at such and such location, business hours are this. Directly in front of you is the reception desk, directly to your left is your elevators, also directly to your left is a bank of chairs. If I move my body toward the direction of the elevators, so I've now moved left, the orientation of that information will also change. So for example, at that point would tell me that the reception desk is now to my right, the elevators are directly in front of me to my left, and the chairs are in front of me directly to my right. So I'm able to decide, given that information, what I want to do and how I want to do it. I still need my orientation and mobility skills. I still need my white cane. We at no point ever advocate for leaving your cane at home. That's crazy. But I can make the same decision that a sighted person would make upon entering the room without ever having to talk to a person, without ever having to hear the beleaguered sigh, the huff, the inconvenience, the snappy, waspy, I don't work here, ma'am, kind of condescending, patronizing tone that I get from so many people. Unfortunately, when I enter a space and I'm trying to receive help, I don't have to deal with that. I can completely bypass that, have access to the same information everyone else does, and make my own choices. So that's what we do, what we are in a very small nutshell.
So Shanell, is this the same right here that years ago had the beacon technology? Is it using the same beacons, and is that how the app is communicating the information to the user?
It is the same right here, but we've now upgraded, and we are no longer just beacons. We are beacons and markers that work in tandem with each other. So the beacons are Bluetooth. They do not require Wi-Fi, and our IT people, at any organization we work with, absolutely love us because we do not have to be hooked up to their security. Nothing we do will interfere with their system. There is no information sharing or interfering kind of overlap. None of that happens. It's all completely separate. And the markers are, imagine a super powered QR code. They're colorful and you can access them at hard angles. You can do it from about 50, 60, even 70 feet away from them. And all you have to do is have the app open and pan vaguely in its direction. If it's there, the camera will catch it and immediately bring that information to your phone. So they work in tandem. And the reason for that is if you imagine the beacon as your umbrella. I like to use the conference room as an example. So for example, you're at a conference and the beacon would immediately tell you, okay, this is where you are. This is, welcome to such and such conference. The tables are laid out in this direction. The men's bathroom are on the left. The women's bathroom are on the right. Whatever the location may be and however descriptor it may need. Maybe the check-in table. Maybe there's a, interesting aisle layout, whatever it needs to tell you. And then as you're walking through each of those spaces, there would be a marker on them. So maybe you're scanning for a specific table and you can just scan each table and it'll tell you who's at that table, whatever information is input into it. So maybe it's their website, maybe it's a contact information, maybe it's a very difficult to spell name that no matter how many times they repeat it, you'll never remember it. Maybe it's a phone number, whatever it is that they needed to put in there, you will have access to that right there on your phone immediately. And what's nice is it means that you can skip having to go to every table and have that awkward, yeah, sorry, you're not who I'm looking for conversation.
Yeah.
Because, it's really, it feels really unfortunate when especially when you're at a conference and you're like, yeah, I was looking for this table. Sorry, I don't want to hear your pitch. This way you can kind of scan and just go straight where you actually wanted to go.
So it almost sounds similar to the GPS app Voice Vista, where there's beacons that you can actually place yourself so that the next user can come along as well and find your beacon or marker if you want.
Very similar in concept, except for these beacons are actual physical beacons that are about the size and shape of probably a lipstick tube, for lack of a better description. They usually are hidden, and so they are specific to a location.
Okay.
But the markers can be put anywhere.
Right.
Now, Shanell, you said that it's using Bluetooth for connectivity.
Yes.
So, what is the range for this this lipstick-sized beacon for the app to kind of say, "Hey, this right here is here"?
I would say approximately 30 feet, but generally speaking, the beacon is not used in a way that it needs more than 30 feet because it's usually to identify that you have found a location. For example, you are now at the front door of a building, or you're at a back door of a building, or you have entered a new room, a whole new space. So it's not meant for granular description. It's only meant for the overarching information in the first place, that you don't really need a wide range for it.
Yeah, and so right now, where are these systems being utilized right now?
We have over 2,500 locations worldwide. So there's a lot of places. I can't even begin to get into the list of specific locations, but I can say that here in the US, we have hospitals. Like there's a children's hospital in DC that I can think of off the top of my head. We have 2 Major League Soccer stadiums that are currently, we have a museum that is enabled. There's just so many restaurants. There's a brewery. There's a little bit of something for everybody at this point. I know that overseas, we even have a Microsoft office that is completely right here enabled. There's a few lighthouses here in our country that are. So yeah, there's a little bit of everything.
And so for, let's just say it's like a restaurant or a brewery, as you mentioned, is it the actual business that is paying to have this service for its patrons?
Yes. So it is the organization or the business that would be paying for it. So the idea here is that our app is free and will always be free. That's non-negotiable. In fact, we don't collect any data from our app users. So there is no login process. We will never ask for your email, your social media, none of that. Our CEO likes to say that it's like your calculator app. It's just there. You just open it and use it. Nobody's collecting anything. So that's what we do. And as far as the function, we think of it very similarly to, if you're a business and you want to install an elevator, you're going to pay for an elevator. If you want ramps put in, you're going to pay for those. The user doesn't pay for those. So it's the same thing in our in our opinion. So that's usually the process of it. And just like an elevator or a ramp, nobody's collecting the data, which is why we feel very strongly about that.
And I'm all about privacy, so I'm not going to, I got nothing against you guys not collecting any data, but I am kind of curious about if you're not collecting any data, are you at least collecting some raw numbers? Because I'm wondering if businesses are wondering how many app hits did we actually get? Like how many patrons are using this? I mean, if they're are they looking for any kind of metrics to justify their investment?
Oh, absolutely. So we do collect, like for example, we do see how many times specific beacons were triggered at a location. We do see how many unique hits that particular beacon may have. We also are able to see, for example, how many downloads we get, new downloads, how many times people have opened and logged into our app. So there are things like that we can collect. We just don't collect anything about you as an individual.
So I want to sort of go back and talk a little bit about the sort of the philosophy behind the app, because I thought what you were talking about earlier was really interesting to me, because for a lot of navigation apps that a lot of manufacturers and app developers and stuff that we've talked to, a lot of the navigation apps sort of go the opposite way than Right Here has, in the sense that they try to become super specific. I mean, that's kind of the drive. It's like everything is like, well, we have to get it right down to, take 3 steps here, turn left, go here. It's very specific, and it's very sort of micromanaging your route. So I find it really interesting that Right Here, you guys have sort of gone the other way in this idea of the difference between navigation and wayfinding. So I guess my question is, did you guys sort of grow into that type of philosophy? Just to talk a little bit about that philosophy and how it sort of came about.
I think it was very much, at least in part, from the very beginning. I think it evolved and grew and became bigger, more clear, and more solid as time went. But I think the seed of it was definitely already planted. I think the reality is that Idan, our CEO, and Gail, our COO, feel very, very strongly about independence and what that means, how they define that. They are from Israel, and so English is not their first language, and they feel very passionately about how they define terms and words. And perhaps that's part of, learning different cultures, and perhaps part of that is learning different languages. But through that process of really sitting down and going, well, what does this word actually mean? They feel that it means the freedom of choice and opportunity and options. And it's not about necessarily telling someone just how to get somewhere, but giving them the freedom to decide they want to get there. Idan always talks about how when you come into a place, like for example, with me, he goes into a place with me, I'm perfectly cognizant of what I want, what I think, and how I feel. He doesn't have to walk me into a space and then try to help me figure those things out. So why would he help me figure out the basics of how to walk from one space to the other? That's not his job. He's not an orientation and mobility instructor. He's not my dad, he's not my husband. He's like, it's not my place to make that choice for you. That's your choice. He's like, all I can do is provide information and let you make that. And that's what he genuinely believes, that's what independence is. And so I think that's where the philosophy really, really grew into, I would say, with the whole company, and the way the app is designed, and the approach, I would say, that he took, or that they took with it, is just really trying to make sure that they keep that in the forefront of their mind, that they're not adding to the problem of taking away our autonomy because that's very frustrating to them both. It's very frustrating to them to see people like me get frustrated and struggle and go, I don't need you to do this for me. I need you to use your words and explain what this is so that I can do it for myself, or I can make it myself, or, like there's just this instinct for so many people to just, it's okay, let me give it to me, I'll do it. Or here, let me take your hand, I'll take you. And I think that's a big barrier they were trying to break down with this app.
It also lets people maintain these orientation and mobility skills that are so important in the day to day. There are really cool. There's really cool stuff out there. Like the meta glasses. We hear all kinds of things about. Smart glasses are on the rise, and sure, that's great. And we've talked about this on the show too. Ryan's talked about this. It's kind of one of his favorite talking points, but. These tools are really great right up to the point when your Wi-Fi fails or whatever, you can't get a signal, and all of a sudden you find yourself without that tool. Well, if you don't have a real solid basis to fall back on, a real solid understanding of orientation mobility and can problem solve your way through that, you're kind of hooped. So I think that's another aspect of this that's really important, is that it helps you really, it encourages people to maintain those skills, and it still highlights the fact that those skills are really, really important to have.
They absolutely are. And I think you're absolutely right. I feel someone else mentioned it before, like what happens if your phone dies? Well, the nice part with something like this is you've been almost subconsciously building a mental map as you've been hearing all this information. So you have context of what the space is. You don't necessarily, if you still have your orientation and mobility, you still know how to troubleshoot a space that didn't just suddenly go away. You didn't get rusty, but now you have some context, some, puzzle pieces to kind of fill in the empty spaces.
So is that kind of the use case for this then? Is this, would somebody use this, say they were going to whatever, they were going to college, and the college was equipped with this. And so they would kind of, initially they would use it to sort of learn everything. But once they've visited the campus and they know the campus kind of well, then it's kind of sits in the background, and it gives them like little reminders like, okay, yeah, I'm passing whatever the concourse, and I know how to get to the library from here. Or is the use case for this more around people coming into new spaces?
I think it's both. I think obviously most people are going to instinctively reach for it when they're going into a new space, simply because it's new, and we always want more information when things are new. But I think it's a helpful training tool if you're trying to understand a space and learn a map, like you said, with universities, which, by the way, we are in some universities. But I think it's also a use case of, like, especially, for example, if you're going to a university, it's so easy to get disoriented because you're walking down a path and someone yelled, "Oh, hey, yo," and you stop, you talk, and then you're like, "What? Where am I standing again?" I can't count how many times that's happened to me. Don't judge. And then, but there's also updates. Both the beacons and the markers can be updated as quickly as you can type. So, for example, maybe you're walking up to the bathroom and it says men's room on the door, but for whatever reason, it's closed. So now they can update it to say men's room closed for cleaning, or men's room caution wet floors. So they can constantly change that. So you get real-time information updates just by having the app open. And maybe you already knew that was the men's room, but you didn't know that the floors were wet. The other thing that I've seen people do is for weather alerts, where there's one of the universities up in Alaska said that they've actually done it where they've actually told the students, hey, we have imminent weather concerns. Please be mindful, pay attention. We may have to close early, things like that. And they put them on all the different markers throughout the building, or the beacons, whichever they are using at the moment in the space that they're in, and say, so that wherever a student is, they're getting that alert, even if they're not seeing the signs, the digital signs flashing, warning, warning. Uh, they're still at least getting that information too, because they don't want to rely on other students telling the students around them that, there's a caution to be aware of.
Right.
And again, I think an app like right here is in some ways similar to Ira or Be My Eyes. It's an assistant tool you can access if you feel you need to access a little bit more information. Because like any of these things, they are based on technology. Batteries die. Information may not be updated in a timely fashion, right? If the owner doesn't take responsibility or ownership of the beacons and does renovations but doesn't update the beacons, guess what? The next time you go in there, your information is going to be incorrect. But that's why you still fall back on your O&M skills, your troubleshooting skills, right? It's another tool in the toolbox that you still need to be able to choose to use or not.
One of the other things I'm curious about is talking a little bit about the difference in use case between the beacons and the markers. Like, so what's kind of the different ways that companies are using these, and is that pretty flexible in the sense that they can kind of be creative and use them however they want, because it's just really sort of a minor difference between the two?
So it is a hybrid thing, and it is very flexible. Some organizations have only markers. Some have only all beacons. Some have a combination of both. Some have a lot of both. Some have only a couple of beacons and a lot of markers. It's really subjective to the space, the need, and the budget. So, for example, an airport needs a lot of beacons. There's a lot of spaces in there. It needs a lot of information, and it has a lot of markers. So it's a lot of both. A library could be kind of hit or miss. It could be maybe only 2 beacons, one at the front door, one at the back, or like in a back entrance area, and a lot of markers. Or it could even just be the one front entrance for a beacon and then all the markers. And then there's been others, really big libraries that have several beacons for several different like wings, if you will, plus a bunch of markers. It is really, really dependent on the location. I think, as I mentioned, generally speaking, the beacons are the overarching kind of lay of the land, if you will, whereas the markers are more granular. So like I use that conference example, but also like, for example, if you think cafeteria or a restaurant, I like to think of like university cafeterias where there's a lot of different food stations. You would still, you would use the beacon at the door to basically say that you've now entered the cafeteria. This is the layout of the cafeteria. And then the markers that would actually have the information of like, this is the salad station, and at this station you can find this type of food, and maybe the prices or something like that. All of the, or a link to their menu if they have a digital version of it. But that would be more often the use case. If you're like at a library, it might be that they have the markers on the different reading sections and on the different aisles and the different like counters. This is the check-in, this is the information desk, that kind of thing. If it's it's really it's so subjective. We at the stadium, when I went there, for example, I just went to the Sports Illustrated Stadium a couple of weeks ago to catch a Red Bulls game, and at their stadium they have the markers on all the bathrooms. They have it on every stadium seating aisle, so that what seating section you're in. And they have them on every food vendor. That gives you an idea of what the food is in that specific section and what types of food are available. They have beacons, obviously, at the different entrances. They have them located throughout the building to sort of kind of help orient you at major connection points where you have a lot of different directions you could possibly go, to kind of help you better understand your space you're in and how to navigate that specific kind of more confusing webbing interface of like, you have like 5 directions you can go right now. Which way do you choose?
And so it sounds like too, for any business out there that's interested in this, it's kind of a very flexible price point for them to implement it. It sounds like
Absolutely.
it goes deep as they want to. So that's
It
that's
is.
pretty nice too, in terms of selling the system.
It's also very buildable, meaning, for example, we've had major companies and organizations who are like really big who come to us and say, we have a limited budget, but we'd really like to at least start the process. So they'll come and they'll start and they'll do maybe just the essentials. And then they'll come back in a couple of years and say, well, we got more grants and we'd like to do more. And they'll come and they'll start filling in more accessible spaces and more granular details that they wanted for their specific space. So it's not something that's like, okay, now you've done it, you're done. You can always build on it, you can always grow. And the markers are so easy to kind of, set up and move around as much or as often as needed, that it's not really difficult for anyone to set up. In fact, a setup can be done within a day.
Wow.
Maybe not for like JFK airport, that's probably more than a day.
Right.
But for the average location, it can be done in a day.
Shanell, how do you guys focus on discoverability? And what I mean by that is, as I mentioned earlier, with IRA, you got to look at IRA partners or locations. So you got to look at the app or their website. Be My Eyes, same thing. Who's a Be My Eyes partner? Does Right Here look at discovery? Do I need to have the app open in order to find the beacons? How do I know who has a beacon? Because discoverability to me is now I've got another app on my phone I have to have running in order to detect a beacon for Right Here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys tried to address discoverability, or how does that work?
Yeah, so right now you do have to have the app, and you do have to have it open in order to find out that you are at a Right Here enabled location. We do have a directory, if you will, inside the app where you can kind of look in your local area and see which locations are currently accessible and Right Here enabled. You can also look up areas like maybe you're going on vacation, I don't know, to California or
Right.
coming here to New York, and you want to know before you even get here if there are locations of the kind you're looking for. So you can look all that up and have that information before you even get here. But as far as right now, it is definitely app-based. Both the beacons and the markers are all integrated into one app. So you're able to access that information without having to swap between 2 different apps, which is a recent update, in fact, because previously we had 2 separate apps. We had the Right Here app and we had a Markers AI app. But we recently, in the last month or 2, actually just released a brand new, completely overhauled app that integrated the 2 together. So that's a little less frustrating and confusing for users. Android is in the process of receiving the same update. So stay tuned if you're an Android user, but we are working on it. We have not forgotten you. And as far as trying to work on the discoverability, we are in talks with other companies, with other products like the smart glasses and stuff like that, trying to see if there's ways to partner or integrate or make things hands-free. Like, we do recognize there's value in that and that people are hoping for it, and we would love to make it happen. It's just a matter of having the right conversations with the right people, and we're working on that.
Yeah, so a couple things. A few years ago, there was supposedly a protocol for smart home called Matter that was going to unite and bring everybody all together so the Apple Kit stuff could talk to the Google stuff and the Google stuff could talk to the Amazon stuff. And that never really came to fruition. And that's almost, I think, what we need when it comes to navigation or orientation. Because like, as I mentioned, 3, 4, 5, 6 apps on our phone, having to do all this research as to who was a partner with who. It would be great if there was a united protocol that everybody's app or technology, I know there's trade secrets, but there has to be some sort of data that could be shared amongst the different partners. And somebody like Meta, who've recently opened up their developer kit, there's an opportunity there. We already see Ira there, Be My Eyes there. We see Orion there. Is that something you guys are looking at as well?
Absolutely. Yes, we are. I cannot speak more on that other than to say that we are absolutely looking at that. But yes.
Come on, you can tell us.
I will say that it is my greatest wish for it to come to fruition. So don't worry, I'm in the background being very pushy about it.
Well, and as as somebody who is a cane user by the sounds of it, hands-free is just the end-all be-all. You've got your backpack or a purse in a hand, a cane in a hand, something else going on. Hands-free is so much easier.
Yes, and I'm a mom, so a mom in New York City means it doesn't matter how old your child is, hand in hand is a requirement. Right. And so hand in hand, cane in hand, I don't have a third hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's coming.
Yes.
You heard it
that
here.
That is my hope. Yes.
Heard it here first.
That's right.
I'm always curious to hear people's opinions about things like the smart glasses, because this isn't the first kick at the can. Of course, everybody remembers Google Glass, and
but that was different. That was
I know.
Was a different time.
It was different times, and I do feel like people are pretty much ready for it, but I don't know. Like, Shanell, have you tried like Meta glasses, or have you tried any of the smart glasses yourself?
So I personally, I am a Meta glasses user. I own a pair. Okay. I was an Orcam user when they were a thing. I was also an Envision user. So I am very familiar. I also teach assistive technology on the side. I am a private instructor, so I'm very, very, very familiar with the different smart glasses. And it's funny because I get this question all the time. People are always wondering, like, how do you choose, like, which one's the better one? Everyone wants to know which one's the best one. Right. And the reality is none of them are best. None of them are great. None of them are perfect. A lot of them are useful. And I think it's very dependent on your lifestyle and your specific use case needs. I think, for example, I tell people, if you're an everyday user, you don't do a lot of reading, you don't do a lot of much of anything other than wanting to be able to ask some random questions and occasionally take some pictures and go, I wonder what that is, then the Meta glasses are perfect for you. You don't need more than that. But if you're a student or you're working and you have a heavy load of needing to be able to constantly check documents and you need to be very detail specific, then the Meta glasses aren't going to support your need. Like, they're not enough. And something a little more robust and a little more blind specific is going to be worth the investment for you. So I always tell people, it's like, there really is no cookie cutter answer right now. I would love for there to be a day where, they're all so robust and useful that there is such an answer, but I don't think there is right now.
And I think that's about to change. Google I/O had their big event on the day we're recording this conversation, and the Apple glasses are rumored to be coming very shortly. So for us who are used to iPhones and accessibility, it could be a game changer.
I hope so. I really do. But I don't know. They've hyped me up before and let me down.
Yes.
So I have learned to take it with a grain of salt, not to hold my breath, and just wait and see. I err on the side of live in the reality we have and hope for the better, coming forward. But don't put all your ducks in a row and then start shooting, because you could be out all your ducks.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. And, look what happened. Meta released a mainstream product that, I don't know, was it adopted by the mainstream as well as it was the blind community? I don't think so, right? The Meta glasses took off in the blind community.
Yeah. Well, that's the interesting part, right? That's the piece of it that I think is really important, because, the thing that made the Meta glasses stand out was the fact that it was a mainstream device that by accident, I'm assuming, I really I don't think Meta did this on purpose, but by accident, they created a really great piece of AT. And the nice thing about that is that, as everybody knows, normally when you're talking about a niche AT product, it's going to be expensive because it's not a mainstream product, and there's the economy of scale type of thing where they have to sell it for more because it costs more to manufacture. But for a mainstream, if it's mainstream product, well then it's the price point's going to be a lot cheaper. So for the Meta glasses, people are like, this is great, for whatever, $500. Which for a piece of AT is a steal. So to me, I look at all of this stuff and I'm going, man, I want things like smart glasses to really take off in the mainstream, because that's going to mean that the price point for folks in the blind and low vision community that want to implement these things, they can actually afford them. But see, that's the thing I'm worried about, is that I don't know. In the mainstream seems to be kind of like, well, I don't know. It feels gimmicky to them, I think, and it's been getting a little bit of pushback from people really don't like the fact that you can't always tell if somebody's taking pictures or if they're recording. I know there's supposed to be like a red light or something on it, but people have figured out a way to cover those up. It's kind of a thing. So I think the mainstream is. I don't know. It's going to, my point is it's going to be a really interesting couple of years, I think, as these newer generations of the smart glasses come out, to really see what the mainstream, how they sort of embrace them.
Well, Rob, I'm going to point out another big flaw with them is that they're completely non-adjustable. If they don't fit your nose, you're screwed. If they don't fit your ears, you're screwed.
Yeah.
I hardly use mine because they hurt, and I practically have to hold them up because I am one of those who was born with a tinier nose.
You can get nose pads.
No, I tried that already.
Okay.
I already tried. Yeah. No, they when they put them on, they're like, man, they just, I don't know what kind of figure they used as the mold. But this is the all-encompassing facial structure for the human race.
That's funny.
You must fit into this profile. So,
But
I'm a perfect example of someone, I paid for them. I am not using them because if they can't sit on my head, what good are they? So
I agree with that. I've had many clients who felt the same way, or they felt like they didn't make a large enough size for them to fit like width wise for the ears, and so the pressure was too much. It was too uncomfortable for them to wear them for any length of time. For people who have the tiny nose, I have found that there are some like silicone sport hooks that you can get for the back of the earpiece that will hold. You can slide them onto the earpiece, and it kind of like hooks them and pulls them towards your face a little bit, and puts the weight of them more on your ears than on your nose.
Very
and some people like those.
It's still very, and I mean, I know, and these are all Band-Aids, and
exactly.
But I'll tell you though, believe me, I've tried a couple different options, but they're very heavy, and it's like if you just don't have the right face for them, and again, if you pay $500 for sunglasses, whatever, I mean, yes, they have the technology. You want them to freaking be able to sit on your damn face. I mean, that's kind of the point. That's it,
That is true. Although the on the flip side of that, what's nice with the Meta glasses is that for the first time we have this technology, and we don't have to look like we're sci-fi characters to wear them. So, we're already.
I just look like I can't afford glasses that fit me.
But hey, that's still at least more of a normal issue than what is that weird thing on your head?
But it is really interesting that everything you hear about it's all branded, right? Like it's the Ray-Ban. So it's interesting that they're really leaning into the look and how they look and the form factor. above anything else. And I think that that's because they kind of learned that lesson from before, where people aren't just going to wear like ugly
A
ass
monocle.
glasses that makes them stand out, right? So it is interesting. So I know that they're really trying to make smart glasses go, and I really hope that this next generation, yeah, we really see some cool stuff, because it's a really great solution if we can just get adopted by the mainstream.
I would love to see a world where at some point we can just untie from the phone altogether and just wear a pair of smart glasses and it does everything I need it to do.
Yep.
That would be fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah, and we'll get there. We'll get there as soon as the technology can miniaturize even more. And developers, again, have to really buy into this. I don't know how many of you who have Meta glasses go into the Meta store, app store, whatever you want to call it. But more and more, there are blindness-specific apps than there are mainstream apps. So,
Yeah.
if that continues to be a trend, how long will Meta continue to pour money into this if the mainstream's not adopting it?
Well, and I think Meta has been putting some serious money into medical research and understanding just how effective their glasses are for the low vision community, which I think is great, which is why you're seeing a lot of features over the updates that keep coming out for us. Like there's a way you can now change the verbosity in it so that it can actually be more descriptive or less descriptive depending on what your preferences are. And all of this is coming back from feedback from our community specifically saying, hey, these are the things that we want. When the Meta glasses first came out, you couldn't read word for word. Now you can. You just have to do it very specifically, not for like long dissertations, but for a page worth of information you can. And that wasn't even an option in the beginning. So like they are listening, and which is really nice. And it's kind of a change of pace for a lot of companies, frankly. So I'm grateful for it. But I think like you guys were saying earlier, there is a point of like privacy concerns, and I think that's really where the mainstream folks, the non-blind and low vision people, are really kind of digging their heels in a bit. Like
right.
Not just the gimmickiness of it, but it's sort of like, we don't want everything tied to our social media accounts, and we don't want you, like, who are you? Like, why should we give you all of our access to all of our information, and you get to see our videos and our photos, and whatever issue they may have in their head about it, they feel away, and that makes it really hard to push forward, I think.
Yeah, and I don't know. I want to flip that around sometimes though, because how many times are those people in the public that are sighted, able-bodied, holding up their phones, taking pictures of everything and everybody without my consent?
Absolutely.
So how are the glasses any different? They're not.
Yeah, for sure.
They're no different. It's a camera.
Well, and I do remember there was talk about, they could load in facial recognition software in there as well, which got some pushback.
Which the iPhone has already.
Does it?
Yes, it does. My doorbell has it.
Sure, but I guess the concern that people had with that is just that you're walking down the street and somebody goes by you wearing a pair of these. Is that a privacy concern? They're going to walk by and they're like, boom, oh, they know your name. Right? Like, I know it sounds very sci-fi and sounds very paranoid, but also like that could totally be possible, right? So I think people are pushing back against those ideas. So I don't know, they'll work it all out. We'll figure it out. Either that, or it's like everything else that's been about privacy for the past 25 years.
I think the AI cat is already out of the damn bag. So.
People will just get used to it. It used to be people were really concerned about giving our data and everything, and now we
I think the only option we have is if you're really concerned about privacy, then buy from an AT specific company like maybe a Giga, right? Yeah, because they're blindness specific, working on blindness specific glasses for the blindness community with input from the blind. They're probably focused a little bit more on privacy than the Metas who's been gathering our data for 20 years on Facebook.
That's right. And if you're really concerned about walking down the street and being identified by somebody wearing a meta glasses, then just do what I do and just stay home. Stay home, get groceries delivered, and just there you go. Just
Wear a
become a
hoodie.
hermit. Just become a recluse.
There you go.
Easy solution. Shanell, we want to thank you so much for coming on. Before we let you go, where the heck can people find out more about Right Here? And how do they find you guys?
Absolutely. So they can go to our website, which is right, RIGHT -here, HEAR.com. If they would like to join our movement and learn about how they can advocate for spaces to be accessible in their own homes, locations, and whatnot, they can go onto the community page and join the movement there. It's a registration link that they can click on. We also have an advocacy page where they can check out the different templates and stuff that we've already pre-created to help with that entire process. Additionally, you can always connect with us on Facebook or LinkedIn. Any of our team would be happy to hear from you on LinkedIn, so feel free to send us a connection and reach out to us directly. We do not mind meeting new people and having new conversations. So if you just want to know what we're doing, or you want assistance with advocating, or wanting to know if a place is already accessible, feel free. Just reach out and say hi.
Thank you again so much for taking some time out of your evening and chatting with us. And
We apologize.
That's right. Hey, listen, anytime you want to come back, and feel free. We're always happy to have you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys taking the time and inviting me here today. And
All right. Thanks, Shanell.
Shanell, nice to meet you.
it was nice to meet you all.
You too.
Bye.
Have a
Take
good
care of my
night.
city.
I will. All right.
All
Bye.
right,
all.
Bye.
All
Where do
right.
people find us?
atbanter.com.
Where they can also drop us an email if they so desire at cowbell.
Now I got to find the cowbell.
God, Brian, we didn't mean to put you out or anything.
Sorry, I'm looking for Alt
at,
F4. Am I signing for GoDaddy?
Stop saying Alt F4. We don't want you to keep the secret.
Will you shut it? My God.
Come on.
Sorry, Option F4.
Incidentally, I
Man,
Oh, sorry,
W.
Command
Funny,
Q.
there was-
Command Q.
there was
Command Q.
Command Queef. I'm just making more work for myself.
I know.
Okay.
my.
Cowbell at atbanter.com is where they can email us as
Yeah.
well. And they can also find us on some social media stuff there for now. So there you go. All right. Well, I think that is going to about do it for us this week. Big thanks, of course, to Shanell for joining us. And we'll see everybody next time.
This podcast has been brought to you by Canadian Assistive Technology, providing low vision and blindness solutions, as well as physical access solutions and augmentative communication aids across Canada. Find us online at www.canastech.com, or if you're in the Vancouver Lower Mainland, visit our storefront at number 106 828 West 8th Avenue in Vancouver. That's one block off Broadway at Willow. You can reach us by phone toll-free at 1-844-795-8324 or by email at sales@canastech.com.